recognize that, the future of work is humans plus AI. It's not how quickly AI can just, take over, everything that humans are doing. But part of what's underlying, I think, what you described is having the cognitive diversity within some of these teams, especially teams sort of overseeing AI adoption across the organization. But do you have the cognitive diversity to recognize all of these different sort of use cases? When I think of diversity more broadly, this is not just what you see on, physically on the surface, someone's, skin color, gender, etc. It's how do they think, and can we incorporate all of those differences into our decision making so we make the most sort of data informed decision?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the other super important thing that you just highlighted is that the arrival or emergence of AI is prompting a lot of important and frankly overdue conversations about the skills and the talents and requirements for different roles and how that translates into pay, how that translates into prestige, what's considered essential versus not. So I'll give you one concrete example. We know that there's a gender pay gap overall across the economy, where in the United States, women make about 83% as much as men. So women make 83 cents on the dollar. But even in specific jobs where the nature of the job is very similar, such as between a manager in the IT function of a company versus a manager in the HR function of a company, we see pay gaps, where HR managers on average are paid less than IT managers, even though, again, the nature of the job is actually incredibly similar. Now, what's different is most IT managers tend to be men and most HR managers tend to be women. And so that's just one way in which the systematic devaluation in society of women's work manifests itself. But one of the ways to fix this, and actually this philosophy has been pioneered by New Zealand, for example, the International Labour Organization on on an international scale, where we break down jobs into their component skills and actually say, okay, what is it that a manager in an IT or HR function is concretely doing and needs to be able to do? And then we rebuild the compensation scale in an organization by valuing individual skills and looking at, okay, we've got these two jobs that look very different and in the past were paid very differently, but actually the people in those two jobs need to be doing exactly the same things and have the exact same skills. Well, that's a pretty strong argument to pay those jobs the same. And so where this comes back to AI is, as you were saying, the advent of AI is kind of forcing us to anyway reconsider who should do what does it make sense to outsource to the machine versus where do humans continue to add unique value, and what exactly is that value and how much should we pay for it? These are super, super important and foundational questions. I think we're just starting to ask them. But again, from a fairness lens, if we do this right, if we do this process in a thorough and smart way, I think we have the potential to come out on the other side with a much fairer way of valuing all humans' work of all kinds.
I'm really glad you brought this up because I have been looking at these concepts around like work redesign, what work should stay on a human being's plate, what should go to AI, and I've been looking at it through a certain lens that says I don't want I want people to control their own destiny, right? And I want people to recognize where AI is going to come in and impact their work, how quickly that may happen, not just for their role and the way that role is scoped, but that role at that organization, et cetera. And it was really so that people don't get caught sort of flat-footed and have to make a pivot under that pressure as opposed to being proactive about it and maybe reskilling or learning how to use AI more effectively and things like that. Was not necessarily doing was looking at it through this lens of this is an opportunity as we do this work redesign to almost start with a blank sheet of paper and say, look, not only are we going to take these roles completely apart, break them down into a task level and say, okay, these are the things that maybe AI or automation should do. These are the things that we're going to keep on a human being's plate. But now let's not just rewrite the job description. Let's think about who that affects across everything, across like career, um, trajectory, potential, and then compensation. It doesn't matter who's in this. We're removing people from this exercise completely, right? We're talking about the work itself, and then once you've
Yeah.
done that, you say, well, because then it would become more obvious to say, oh, we're going to put you know Sally in this job instead of Joe, and therefore the pay is the pay, and now we're going to just put a capable human being with potential to succeed in that role. We're going to put them there, and nothing else really matters, right? Are they capable of being successful in this role? Are they capable of leading this team? Are they capable of aligning, talent strategy with technical strategy with business strategy and move the organization forward? And nothing else really matters.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just so much exciting, untapped opportunity and potential here, but it requires us to approach work and structuring roles quite differently from what we've done in the past.
Yeah, agree.